Hello friends, welcome to this YouTube video program. We are discussing about various methods that we use for conducting survey research. As I have discussed it in my earlier video that on the basis of coverage of population and units of respondents, we can classify the survey method, that is the census survey and sample survey. In my earlier two video, we have discussed about the process of conducting the census survey, and we have also discussed the process of conducting sample survey. And second, on the basis of time of events or stages of event studied, we can use here two types of methods for conducting the survey research, that is longitudinal survey and cross sectional survey. And the third basis, that is on the basis of nature of data and methods involved, we can conduct a documentary type of survey research. Then on the basis of purpose of the study, we can use three types of survey method for conducting the study, that is you can say the status survey, comparative survey and evaluation survey. So friends, today we will discuss, as we have already discussed on the basis of coverage of population and units of respondents, today we will discuss the second basis, that is on the basis of time of events or stages of events studied, that is the longitudinal survey and the cross sectional survey. In this program, we will discuss about the longitudinal survey, how we use the concept of longitudinal survey and what process we follow for conducting the longitudinal survey. You see, the term longitudinal survey, it has been taken from the very word that is long to longitudinal. Long means you can say the study will continue for a long period of time. Okay, maybe for 2 years, maybe for 5 years, maybe for 1 decade, maybe for more than 1 decade also. You will find that so far as different disciplines are concerned in the social sciences, you can say especially such type of studies conducted in education, sociology and anthropology. Okay, so they do a type of longitudinal study. So when they conduct a study on a particular community to know certain aspect of the community, you can say related to their culture, related to their practices, even related to their education, economic and other aspects, other issues. So what they do, they study that society, that community or that tribe for a long period of time to know the exact, you can say, the development of the issues and development of certain you can say aspect. And you see, the context and perspectives for conducting longitudinal study or the cross sectional study, as I have already said that for conducting the survey types of research, there is the possibility of getting two types of data, qualitative data as well as the quantitative data. But here for conducting a longitudinal study, you will find that mostly you will get the qualitative data and there is a little scope to get the quantitative data. But as a researcher, you cannot ignore the scope of use of quantitative data in a longitudinal study. Here also there is the scope to get the quantitative data, but mostly the data that you will get, that is qualitative in nature. And the tools that you will be using for conducting the study, mostly a type of qualitative tool that you can say I have already discussed. When the researcher uses the tool like the interview, the observation, focus group discussion. Okay, so minutely the researcher has to observe the situation. They have to go to the field. They have sometimes you'll find that they are living with the community, they are living with the society. Okay, living with a particular tribe, you can say, to observe and to get a clear idea about the development of certain aspects. Okay, so that's why the very concept of longitudinal study means this study continues for a long period of time, and through longitudinal surveys one explored the status of variables as investigated on different points of time in order. As I have said that this study continues for a long period of time, means here the researcher will study the variable, the issue of the variable for a long period of time, means what is happening today, what is happening after 2 years, what is happening after 5 years, and what is the status of the same variable after you can say a decade, after 10 years. So through such studies, the changes in the status of the variables over a period of time are explored, and the researcher are engaged minutely, very objectively. Researcher engaged with the community member, with the tribe, with the society, okay, to get the findings. Then we can say when we compare the cross-sectional study with the longitudinal study, here what we get that you will find in the cross-sectional study where past data are recollected by the respondents at one point of time, but in the longitudinal study it deals with gathering actual evidences at different points of time in order. So we try to understand further when we will discuss the cross-sectional study, the things will be more clear. But here let me to say, when we conduct a cross-sectional study, what you are doing here, you are taking, you can say many groups of population, but the data that you are taking, we are taking the data at the same time. Okay, so here we are not giving any gap of time. But when we conduct a longitudinal study, so what we can say, what we can do that here population will not be changed, let the society will not be changed, the community will not be changed. But when we will collect data, what we will do, we have to collect data of the same society, same community. Let today, then the same things will be observed after 2 years, after 5 years, after 10 years. Okay, so after a lapse of time, continuously we will observing the facts. But in the cross-sectional study, so the data will be collected instantly. Means in one go we have to collect the data, but we have to engage different sections of the population. So that's why that is called as cross-sectional study. So friends, let us go forward. It is therefore assumed that when we conduct a longitudinal study, this has been ascertained to get a higher level of reliability of the studies or the validity of the findings of the study in comparison to your cross-sectional study. Because you see, when the researcher engaged in a study for a long period of time and continuously observing the development of certain aspect, development of the variable, then definitely you can say you can gather more and more facts, you can gather valid facts about that variable. Because and when you are conducting a cross-sectional study, you see here the scope are limited. We are not observing what is going on after a lapse of time. So whatever we are observing today in one way of our data collection, we are just reaching at the findings. So that's why when we conduct a study by using the longitudinal survey method, we can say the validity of the findings or the results that we are getting, definitely that is some extent better result in comparison to a cross-sectional study. So friends, now let us discuss that what are the different types of longitudinal surveys are there. Means the specific longitudinal different types of specific longitudinal studies that we can conduct in our research. So specifically we can use trend studies, that is this is one type of longitudinal survey. We can also use the panel studies, we can also use a cohort studies. So try to remember, I repeat, we can conduct we can use three types of longitudinal survey: trend study, panel study, and cohort study. So friends, try to understand what is trend study, then what is panel study, and what is cohort study. So let us first focus upon the trend studies. You see, in such kind of studies, data collection takes place at different phases. So here I am saying that you have to collect data in different phases. Okay, so you will not collect data in one phase. You can say different groups of sample respondents drawn from the general population are contacted for different phases of data collection. Let me to give one example. I think the things will very clear. Let, as a researcher, you want to know the impact or the effect of midday meal schemes at the elementary stage. Okay, so how this midday meal scheme is functioning in the elementary stage of school education. So as a researcher, what you will do when you use the trend studies, what you will do, let the first batch, when you started the study, let in 2019, in a particular school, when the elementary students took admission, you make them as the sample. Okay, so you have to collect certain, make them as the population, and you have to collect a group of sample from that population, and you will conduct your study. Means your work is to know how this midday meal scheme is effective, and how it impacts upon the elementary school children. So first you started your work on the first batch, that is those have taken admission in 2019. Then again what you will do, next year you have to collect data from another group of population. Means you can say, let those have taken admission in the year 2020. Okay, 2020. So here population is different. Earlier 2019 group was the population. So next 2020 group is the population. You have to collect the same data. Tools will be the same. Then again what you will do, in 2021, again when the elementary students will come, you have to collect data in 2021 by using the same tool. So what you will be doing here, your population will be changed year wise, but similar types of data you will collect. And after collecting let 5 years of data, 6 years of data, then you have to compare the trends of each year. What the students say in 2019, in 2020, in 2021, 2022, 2023 accordingly. So you can have a better comparison of the trend of students' responses in different years. Okay, so here as I have told that in longitudinal study you have to continue this study for a long period of time. So you can conduct your study taking 5 years, taking 7 years, taking 10 years to know the trend. The second type of longitudinal study that we can conduct, that is a panel study. So try to understand what is the panel study. Here you see, in such studies the same group of sample respondent is studied over a period of time. But here what you are doing, we are not changing the group. So group will be same. But here in the earlier cases what you are doing, you are changing the group. Okay. So you are taking 2019 student, 2020 student, 2011, 21, 22 accordingly for 5 years or for 10 years. But here what you will do, I am just giving one example. Let you want to know the attitude of a particular group of students towards school education is studied over a period of time. Okay. So what you will do, when a particular group of students took admission in class 1, so the class 1 students let admitted in 2019 will be the population. You have to collect data from them. Then again what you will do, related to their attendance, related to their achievement, related to their other parameters also. Okay. So the group will intact here. You will not change the group, but you have to collect data from them in 2020. Means in 2020 they will be in class 2. Okay. So the same types of data will be collected from the same group in 2020. Then again when they will come to standard 3, class 3 in 2021, again you have collect data taking the same group when they are in class 3. Then in class 4 that will be in 2022. So you have to collect data from the same group late for 5 years till the completion of 5th standard. Okay. So here what you will do, you can better compare the attendance and other types of data, educational data, achievement data, their intelligence over the period of 5 years. Okay. So you can better observe that what are the changes which is happening in over a period of time, maybe for 5 years or maybe for 10 years. So here you are not changing the groups. But you see in the earlier cases, in the trend studies, you are changing the groups. Every time you are getting a new population. But in the panel studies, you are not getting the new population. But here one drawback is, in panel studies, there is the possibility of withdrawal of certain students, certain subject. Okay, non-participation of certain, non-cooperation of certain subjects. Let you have collect data in class 1, you have collect data from 40 students or from 100 students. So when they are coming to class 2, you are not getting 100 students. You let this number of students are less. Okay, so that's why this may be one of the drawbacks of the panel studies. And friends, let us now discuss the third type of studies, that is called as the cohort studies. So try to understand what is the cohort studies and what is the concept and how you can conduct the cohort studies. In the cohort study method, a specific population is taken for study over a period of time. Here also you are taking a specific group of population, but different samples can be drawn from the specific population. So here population will be same, but what you are doing, you are collecting different sample from the same population in for different phases of the research. Let me to give one example so that the things will be more clear. Let, as a researcher, you want to know district education department decided to implement online education through MOOCs, massive open online courses for professional development of teachers at the secondary stage. Let a particular district, the education department of the district decided that they will implement the online education system through MOOCs, okay, for the professional development of the teachers. You want to know the attitude of the teachers over a period of time by conducting a type of longitudinal study. So here what you will do, you have to conduct a cohort types of study. So what you can do, before implementing or before introduction of the MOOCs, before introduction of online education through MOOCs for the professional development of the teachers, you can, because you see for the secondary school teachers, so already the population is with you because you know the schools and you have already listed the number of secondary school teachers. So you can draw a sample and you can find out, you can know the attitude of the teachers towards online education through MOOCs before introduction of the MOOCs. Then what you will do, so first you are measuring the attitude before introducing the MOOCs. Then next, in the second phase, what you will do, after introduction of the MOOCs, again what you will do, again you have to study, you have to measure the attitude of the teachers. Okay, so let the MOOCs course has introduced, after 2 months, after 3 months, after 6 months, you are taking you are just measuring the attitude of the teachers by using a type of scale, attitude scale. Then you see, after this is the second phase, and the third phase, what you are doing, after completion or after continuation of 5 years of online courses through MOOCs for the professional development of the teachers of that district, again you are taking a group of sample and studying their attitude. They have already practiced this MOOCs for 5 years. Then what is their attitude? You see, first you studied the attitude before implementation or before introduction of MOOCs, then during introduction of MOOCs, then after completion of 5 years of introduction of the MOOCs. So whether the attitude of the teachers are varying or not. Okay, so you can study the attitude of the teachers in different course of time. Okay, so before introduction, during introduction, and after introduction. So you are taking, for completing this study, you are taking a complete 5 years, and as per your plan, it may be 10 years also, it may be more than that also. So friends, we discussed 3 types of longitudinal study. We discussed the trend studies, the panel studies, and the cohort studies. As a researcher, first of all, you have to understand your research problem, and you have to take a decision that what type of particular longitudinal study method you have to adopt for conducting this study. And let me to say, this is one of the best method for conducting the study. For the academic purpose, you will find that very students are come forward for conducting a longitudinal study because it takes time. But so far as project and other individual effort is concerned, you see, many researchers, because of their personal motivation, personal inspiration, what they are doing, and they are conducting a type of longitudinal study. So longitudinal study doesn't mean that you will study for 10 years. You can also taking 1 or 2 years, you can also conduct your study. So friends, today we discuss about the concept and process of conducting longitudinal study, and in our next video program we will discuss about the cross sectional study. Thank you.